Breaking her silence, this grandma reveals the shocking truth about her father's dark secrets. Chapter 1. The Mysterious Beginning. From the very first moment, an eerie silence hung over the old farmhouse, broken only by the faint rustle of leaves stirred by an unseen breeze. Strange shadows flickered across the cracked walls, as if the house itself held secrets desperate to be uncovered. Every creak of the floorboards echoed like a whispered warning, while outside the distant howl of a lone wolf sent chills down the spine. Something was undeniably wrong, a hidden truth lurking just beneath the surface, waiting to unravel. The air grew thick with anticipation as unexplained lights danced in the darkness, and the townsfolk's hushed rumors spoke of an ancient curse that no one dared to challenge. Each strange occurrence piled upon the last, weaving a tangled web of mystery that pulled Lucy deeper into the story, craving to know what sinister forces were at play. Then came the call. The phone rang, shattering the stillness, jolting Lucy from her thoughts. She answered nervously, her heart throbbing against her ribcage. "Lucy!" The voice on the other end crackled. It was Agnes, her estranged grandmother. "I need to tell you about your father. There's so much you don't know." Those words hung in the air, heavy with dread. Secrets? About her father? Lucy's mind raced, recalling the whispers that enveloped her family like a dark fog. Unwanted questions invaded her. Thoughts. Who was her father really? What had he hidden from them all? She gripped the phone tighter, her hands trembling, the lump in her throat growing harder to swallow. Agnes spoke of deception and betrayal, of a life her father had lived in the shadows, a world connected to crime, tangled with whispers of a child who had disappeared years ago. Lucy felt a mix of disbelief and growing curiosity. Could these secrets be true? "He was not the man you thought he was, Lucy. He didn't just vanish. He was run out of town." Each revelation rocked her to her core, smashing the delicate glass of her childhood memories. As they spoke, the storm outside raged, rain pounding against the windows, like desperate hands seeking entry. "You need to come home," Agnes urged, her voice trembling, thick with urgency. "There are people who will want to silence me, and you have to know the truth." Fear gripped Lucy. A sinister figure from Agnes's past loomed over them like a dark cloud, threatening to eclipse their bond just as it began to form. Could they really confront the demons of the past? Could she face the truth without shattering under its weight? Just as she was about to respond, a sudden crash echoed from outside. She rushed to the window, heart racing. Lightning illuminated a figure standing in the distance, watching. Lucy's stomach dropped. Who was that? A sickening sense of dread filled her. In that most pivotal moment, everything felt fragile. Her family's secrets, her own insecurities, all wrapped together in a dark mystery that grew tighter around her. She was no longer just a journalist. She was a daughter, a granddaughter, caught in a web of fear and unspoken truths. What would she choose? Loyalty to her family's dark legacy? Or justice for the forgotten child? The shadows loomed closer. The photograph of her father that she kept hidden in a drawer suddenly felt ominous. A piece of the puzzle she had yet to confront. What chilling secrets awaited her in the attic? And what terrifying connection could unravel everything she thought she knew? Lucy took a deep breath, her decisions already weighing her down. This was just the beginning, an omen of what was still to come. The world around her seemed to be closing in. What truth awaited her beneath the surface? Chapter 2: The Unveiling. Lucy stood frozen by the window, heart pounding, the storm's fury matching the chaos inside her. The figure in the distance seemed to pulse with menace, a dark silhouette against the storm-swept field. Adrenaline coursed through her veins, every instinct screaming at her to retreat. But she couldn't look away. Fear gripped her, squeezing her chest tight. "What is happening?" she muttered to herself. What truth could be so terrible? The air crackled with tension. Agnes's voice echoed in her mind, warning her of the dangers yet to come. Suddenly, the uneasiness morphed into something colder, a deep-seated dread that curled around her thoughts. Just then, the phone slipped from her grasp, crashing to the floor. The noise jolted her out of her reverie. She knelt to pick it up, heart racing, when another sound, sharper and louder, sliced through the storm. A crash echoed from the attic above, followed by a muffled cry. Panic seized her. What was that? With trembling hands, Lucy climbed the rickety stairs. Each creak underfoot resonating like a warning bell. Shadows flickered as her heart pounded in rhythm with her steps. The door to the attic loomed ahead, barely hanging on its hinges. She pushed it open, light from the storm spilling in. The scene inside stole her breath. Papers were strewn everywhere, like fallen leaves in an autumn gale. In the corner, she saw an old trunk. It looked familiar. Her father's trunk. It hadn't been opened in years. As she approached, a low whimper echoed through the room. Lucy jumped back, startled. "Hello? Is anyone there?" Silence. The storm roared outside, drowning out her own breathing. She pulled the trunk open, the rusty hinges squealing in protest, revealing its hidden contents. Photographs, letters, and a small leather-bound journal. Her heart dropped as a name caught her eye on a faded photo, a little girl grinning back at her. "No," she breathed, recognizing the face. It was the child from the town's Whispered. Tales, the girl who had vanished so long ago. Her soul shook, threads of connection forming in her mind. Suddenly, more clashing noises erupted outside. Lucy rushed to the window, her heart pounding louder than the rain. The figure was closer now, shifting in the shadows, and for the briefest moment, the lightning struck. She caught a glimpse of their face. Her breath hitched. It was a man she knew all too well. Her father. "No, no, no!" she gasped, stumbling back. Realization sunk in like a stone. The man she had idolized and mourned for all these years was somehow alive, hiding in the dark. The truth twisted painfully in her chest. But how? Why? Behind her, there was a sudden movement. Startled, she turned, heart racing. Agnes stood at the door, pale and shaken. "Lucy," she whispered, her face a mask of fear. "We have to leave. Now." "Leave? But—" The ground shifted beneath her. "What is happening?" Agnes stepped forward, desperation in her eyes. "There are details I haven't told you. Things I couldn't bring myself to say." "Tell me!" Lucy demanded, a rising surge of anger mixed with longing. She needed to know everything. Then came a louder crash, even closer this time. The door quaked on its hinges. Fear clawed at Lucy's throat. The clouds outside seemed to grow darker, pressing down on her. In the shadow of impending chaos, a sliver of truth finally pierced the tension. Just then, the attic floorboards groaned, threatening to give way. An urgent voice called out, echoing through the night. "You have to make a choice, Lucy!" "What choice?" Her voice was barely a whisper. But as the door burst open, sending splinters flying, the wind howled like a beast unleashed, drowning all sound. In the fleeting moments before everything fell apart, she spotted the journal. The weight of secrets, the key to understanding everything. And in that terrible instant, with the storm raging outside and the figure approaching, Lucy realized her fight was just beginning. What would she discover next? Would it shatter her world or set her free at last? The darkness surged forward, and she was left with only one burning question. Who could she trust? Lucy's heart raced as the door splintered open. The shadowy figure stumbled in, drenched and wild-eyed. It was just a moment of chaos, but it felt like time stretched and warped. In an instant, she was face to face with the man she had only known in faded photographs and aching memories. "Dad?" she gasped, fingers trembling over the edge of the trunk. Her world tilted. The journal slipped from her grasp, pages flapping like frantic wings. "Lucy!" he shouted, voice hoarse and ragged, desperation woven into every syllable. "You have to listen to me! What are you doing here?" The words shot out, sharp as jagged glass. Confusion swirled, mixing with disbelief and a rising tide of fear. Her father, alive after all these years? It was impossible. "I didn't mean for you to find out this way," he said, stepping closer, soaked hair stuck to his forehead. "There are things you don't know, things that could put you in danger." Agnes stumbled back, now wary, her face turning pale. "Get away from her," she shouted, protective instinct roaring to life. "You have no idea what you're doing." "Mom?" Lucy turned back and forth between them. The storm outside, howling like an angry spirit. What is going on? And then, like a bolt of lightning, it hit her. Her mother's expression, the heaviness of secrets clawing at the walls around her life. "Are you in danger because of him?" She whispered, the edges of her understanding blurred, the truth feeling unattainable. Suddenly, from the shadows of the attic, A figure shifted. Another presence lurking. Heart pounding, Lucy turned. But it was not another stranger. It was a woman with familiar features and a tear-streaked face. Who? Lucy stumbled over the word, shock crystallizing her thoughts. The woman stepped into the light, trembling. "Lucy, it's me." The voice was hauntingly similar, echoing her own. "I'm your sister." "No!" Lucy gasped, every fiber of her being recoiling. "That's impossible!" Agnes gasped, hands flying to her mouth. "You can't! She can't be!" But the woman stepped closer, eyes pleading, filled with an ocean of sorrow. "I was taken from you, taken from all of us." Her voice cracked, desperation clawing at the edges. "They told me you were dead. I was raised." "What do you mean?" Lucy's mind spun. Her reality seemed to break apart. Was this true? A sister she never knew? "Please, you need to believe me," the woman pleaded. "Our father, he's not who you think he is. I escaped them. They were hunting for me, and they might find you too." The storm outside raged. Wind screaming like a wailing ghost. The thunder echoing Lucy's rising panic. Everything she thought she knew was unraveling. Her father was hiding something monumental, and it wasn't just about his past. It was about her own existence. "No," she breathed, a lump forming in her throat. "Could you? How can I trust you?" "I can prove it," the sister said, trembling hands reaching towards Lucy. But Lucy took a step back, overwhelmed. "But you need to decide, Lucy. Will you join us or stay here in this dark? They'll come for you next." The world spun faster, secrets colliding with the rain's fury outside. Pain and confusion mixed inside her, while fear threatened to swallow her whole. She could feel the darkness closing in. "Lucy!" Agnes shouted, desperation in her voice. "We need to leave now." But it was too much, too fast. The walls of her identity crumbled, leaving only the haunting question. Who was she really? As thunder cracked overhead, she faced the unknown, desperate to hold on to something, anything that felt real. In that moment of chaos, with secrets swirling and danger looming, she stood on a precipice, teetering between the life she thought she had and a new truth that could tear her apart. What would she choose? And what would become of them all in the storm's dark embrace? The storm howled outside, drowning out Lucy's thoughts. Her sister stood there, pleading with her, but the ground felt unsteady beneath her feet. The weight of the moment pressed down. "Lucy, you have to trust me," the woman insisted, her eyes wide with desperation. "I'm not lying." "Trust?" Lucy's voice quivered. "How can I trust anything right now?" But before the sister could answer, the attic door smashed further apart. A figure lurched through the remaining splinters, face obscured by the rain and shadows. Lucy's heart leaped into her throat, a sickening dread pooling there. Then the figure stepped into the dim light, revealing itself. Lucy's breath caught. It was her father. But something was wrong. His eyes were wild, not just with fear, but with something darker. Something that made her skin crawl. "Lucy, run!" he yelled. "Why?" The question slipped out, raw and urgent. "Why now?" "There's no time," he shouted back, voice fraying. "You'll understand soon enough." Then everything collapsed into chaos. The attic floor creaked underneath them, as if the house itself was part of this dark play. Just then, a loud crash against the window shattered the moment, splinters flying. A hand pushed through the broken glass, reaching, clawing. Agnes screamed. Lucy turned to see her mother stumbling backward, fear painted across her face. "Get away from her!" she shouted again, eyes flicking between her husband and the intruder. In that split second, Lucy felt a rush of clarity, a spark igniting in her chest. "Stay back!" she ordered, stepping closer to her sister, ready to protect the unknown. Then, with a throat-tightening crunch, the doorframe gave way. A dark figure broke through, a man cloaked in shadows, and in his hand he held something glinting. A long, sharp knife. "Leave her alone!" the figure roared, pointing the knife at Lucy's father. "You've betrayed us for the last time." Lucy's heart hammered as she processed the scene unfolding. The man threatening the only parent she had left, her father. "What are you talking about?" she shouted, panic swelling inside her. "He was supposed to keep the secret," the dark figure yelled, voice thick with anger. "But he failed. You think we don't know about you? About her?" "Stop!" Lucy cried, but the tension crackled like electricity. As the two men squared off, shadows danced around them. Then it happened. A twist that made the room fall silent. Lucy's sister gasped, stepping forward. "Wait! This must end! You need to know! I'm not just your sister." "What are you saying?" Lucy whispered, feeling the world tilt again. Her sister took a deep breath, tears glistening in her eyes. "I'm actually your twin." The revelation hit like a punch to the gut. "What?" Lucy hardly recognized her voice. "You can't be serious." "I'm serious. I was taken at birth, kept away from you." Tears flowed freely down her sister's cheeks. "And he knows." The room froze, the tension thickening. Everything Lucy believed shattered in an instant. Her heart raced, each beat echoing in her ears. "No, this can't be true." "It is. Our father made a deal, a choice that cost us both," her sister pressed. "He never wanted to lose you, but he had to protect you from the truth." Everything felt surreal. The figures, her father and the cloaked man, were locked in place. "What truth?" she demanded, voice trembling. "No!" the cloaked man shouted, suddenly, skin pale against the dying light. "You can't!" But it was too late. The storm roared louder outside, drowning out the remaining words. As lightning cracked overhead, illuminating the attic like a flash of revelation, Lucy stood on the edge of chaos, torn between her father and this new truth, the air heavy with storm and secrets. The darkness swirled around her, ready to consume. In that moment, a single question loomed. What did she really want to uncover? The storm outside battered the farmhouse like a wild beast, drowning out Lucy's racing thoughts. She stood between her sister and her father, panic electrifying the air. What do you mean, twin? The word felt unreal, heavy like stone in her mouth. As Lucy's sister stepped closer, the flickering light from the storm caught her face, revealing eyes that shimmered with tears and fear. I escaped. I've been running, hiding, until it was safe to come for you. From him? Lucy's voice trembled, pointing towards her father. The weight of the moment made her sick. All her life, she had idolized him, seen him as a lost hero. But standing here, faced with a woman claiming to be her twin, everything felt shaky. Suddenly, the dark figure growled, stepping back into the shadows. Enough of this! Your father turned his back on us, on everything. You don't know what he's done. Don't listen to him, her father yelled, eyes flickering with urgency. I did what I had to do to protect you both. What does that mean? Lucy shouted back, anger boiling over her confusion. What did you do? And then the storm raged harder outside. The winds howled like tormented spirits, drowning out the truth lingering in the air. It felt as if time dragged, thick and suffocating. Just when it seemed like all hope was lost, a loud knock echoed from below, shattering the tension like glass. The door slammed against the wall, and 4 uniformed police officers charged into the attic. Everyone freeze! One yelled. Lucy's heart dropped. She hadn't expected this. Panic surged as she looked between her father and the figures in blue. You can't take him. You don't understand. But the officer's eyes were already fixed on the dark figure. Hands up, now, they demanded, pointing at him. Stop! He's not the enemy, Lucy shouted, desperation spilling from her lips. But in those moments, chaos erupted. The dark figure darted toward the window, a desperate move to escape. But as he turned, something glinted under his shirt. Leave him, Lucy's father shouted. He's not just anyone. But it was too late. As the officer lunged to grab him, the man spun around, brandishing a knife hidden close to his chest. This ends now, he hissed, his voice fierce. Everything froze. The air thickened with a mix of terror and confusion. Shadows danced wildly in the light as the world spun out of control. Then a shot rang out. Lucy's heart dropped into her stomach. Her father lunged forward, pushed her sister back as the shot echoed against the walls. He staggered, eyes wide, shock flooding his face. The world felt like it was tearing apart at the seams. Dad! Lucy screamed, rushing towards him. But Agnes pulled her back. Fear etched in her features. No, you can't! He made his choice, Agnes shouted, her voice breaking, filled with pain. Lucy felt like she was in a nightmare, the scene unfolding like a slow-motion horror movie. Her father stumbled, blood seeping through his shirt. Lucy, he gasped, eyes searching hers. Confusion etched deep. You must listen, the truth. But before he could finish, the cloaked figure was gone, lost into the night, and the police rushed to her father, kneeling beside him. Lucy stood frozen, trapped in a whirlwind of emotions. Could this be the end? The unanswered questions screamed in her mind. Was her father a hero? A villain? Or something darker? With her heart pounding, Lucy found herself alone, surrounded by officers, her sister beside her, eyes wide with horror. The truth that loomed above felt like a gigantic shadow, ready to swallow her whole. She glanced at the broken pieces of her family, torn apart by secrets and lies. "What have I done?" she whispered, clutching the swirling storm of emotions swirling inside her. And in that moment, she knew the answers to her questions would not come easily. The path ahead was tangled, dark, and uncertain. What will happen next? Who could she trust? Would she ever uncover the truth? The storm outside raged on, mirroring the turmoil in her heart. What would she choose now? The chaos hung in the attic like a thick shroud. Lucy's heart raced, blood pounding in her ears as she scanned the faces around her. Officers swarmed like a tsunami, but any relief she might have felt was drowned beneath the wild gaze of her father. "Lucy," he whispered, the tremor in his voice slicing through the storm of noise. His brows furrowed, sweat beading on his forehead. "You need to remember, not everything is as it seems." She barely heard him. She stared at the police, eyes darting between the officers and her father, her world quivering on the edge of a knife. "You're hurt!" she cried, stepping forward. "Stay back!" Agnes shouted, her voice sharp and powerful. But Lucy couldn't stop. She lunged, reaching for him, but the weight of betrayal wrapped around her heart like a vice. "I did it for you, Lucy," he pleaded. But the words felt heavy with unspoken guilt. Adrenaline coursed through her veins as she moved closer to him, every instinct urging her to comfort him. But then, the figure who had lunged into the attic, cloaked in shadows, suddenly sprang back into view. His face was twisted in rage. "Don't believe him! He's lying!" he shouted, voice raw and frantic. "He was never going to protect you. He planned to use you." The air crackled with tension. Lucy felt a sickening churn in her stomach. "Use me?" she echoed, hardly able to breathe. "Stop!" one of the officers yelled, hand reaching for his radio. But the figure only flinched, eyes darting toward her with an urgency that sent chills down her spine. "Lucy," he cried, "you don't understand. Your dad is connected to everything. The disappearances, the lies. He is not just your father. He's the one who put us all in danger." She stumbled back, her breath hitching. "No, you're wrong!" But as the words left her lips, doubt crept in, dark and heavy. The storm outside surged, thunder roaring like an angry beast, shaking the house to its bones. Then, just as quickly, there was silence. All at once, the shadows in the room thickened. A low humming filled the air, vibrating through the floorboards, pulling everyone's attention. Lucy's heart raced. "What is that?" she asked, voice trembling. Before anyone could answer, the attic ceiling began to ripple, the wood contorting as if alive. She staggered back, a primal fear welling in her chest. Make it stop! But the noise grew louder, a cacophony of whispers sliding into the room, fragments of voices layered over one another. He knows the truth. She must be silenced. The child. Hold on, an officer yelled as he grabbed Lucy, yanking her back, just as a crack split through the ceiling. Dust rained down, and with a deafening crash, an old trunk that had teetered precariously above splintered to the floor, spilling its contents like secrets hidden too long in a dark corner. As the trunk exploded open, papers fluttered like tortured birds, and in the mix of it all lay a child's drawing, vibrant and haunting. Lucy gasped. "Lucy, look!" Agnes shouted, her voice cutting through the chaos. "The drawing! It's you!" But even that revelation fell flat as the woman from earlier, the one claiming to be her sister, finally stepped forward. Lucy's breath caught in her throat as she picked up the drawing, the innocent crayon strokes depicting a tiny girl holding hands with another small figure beside a tall, menacing shadow. Tears filled her eyes, and the storm inside her raged. She turned to her father, searching for answers, but before she could speak, a loud crash echoed from below, booming through the house, shaking it to its core. A gunshot rang out, piercing the tense air, making everyone freeze. Everything fell silent. The shadows paused in their dance, and Lucy's heart stopped. "Dad?" she gasped. But the face she turned to was not the one she recognized. Her father's eyes widened with shock, and as he stumbled backward, a dark stain began to spread across his shirt. Lucy's breath caught, her world crashing all around her as dread pressed hard against her chest. She felt the weight of truth shifting, heavy and unstoppable. Is this what had been hidden for so long? Was she standing at the boundary of lies that would shatter everything she thought she knew? Then, beneath all that chaos, through the whispers of the storm and the pulse of her thundering heart, one question loomed larger than all the rest. Who was the real enemy, and would she ever truly know her father? The attic was thick with shadows. Lucy's heart pounded in her chest, feeling like a drum drowning out all thought. Her father swayed, color draining from his face as blood seeped from his torso. Time felt frozen, caught in a web of chaos, with the storm raging outside, as if the world itself was protesting what happened here. "Dad!" Lucy gasped, reaching out, fingers trembling. She wanted to leap forward, to touch him, to make sure he was real. A lump formed in her throat, bile rising as she saw the fear in his eyes. It was a look that said everything and nothing at once. "Lucy, you must listen," he rasped, clutching his side, each breath a struggle. It's worse than you think." The police officers scrambled around him, shouting orders, trying to keep control of the situation. But their voices blurred into the background, a mere echo against the frantic beating of Lucy's heart. She felt reality slip through her fingers. "Get away! You don't have to!" she shouted, feeling the panic bubble inside her. Her eyes darted to her sister, who looked frozen in shock, mouth agape, like she couldn't process what was happening. Then, all at once, the air shifted. A loud thud shook the attic again. Dust fell from the rafters as the shadows flickered. The trunk that had exploded open now lay forgotten as the whispers returned, rising louder in a discordant symphony. "Lucy," her sister said, voice trembling, "you need to know. Everything is connected." "What do you mean?" she shouted, panic rising in her chest. But suddenly, the world tilted again. The cloaked figure lunged, trying to escape the officer's grasp. "I can't let him go," Lucy shouted instinctively, hating the confusion boiling within her. Then it happened. Her father reached out, but his hand slipped as he fell to his knees. The storm echoed, rolling like thunder, and then she heard it, clear and loud, cutting through the chaos. "Lucy, don't!" A blinding flash of pain shot through her chest as she turned to see the cloaked figure reaching into his pocket. "Stop!" she screamed, but time slowed. Adrenaline flooded her system. The figure pulled out a small device, glinting ominously in the flickering light. "This will reveal everything," he shouted, and without a moment's hesitation, he pressed a button. The world exploded. A blinding light enveloped the attic, blaring alarms and flashes erupting everywhere, drowning the storm's fury in raw chaos. Lucy shielded her eyes, heart racing, confusion gripping her like a vice. In that moment, she felt something crack. A barrier within her shattered. The light pulsated brighter until it dimmed, revealing something no one could have anticipated. At the center of the room hung a floating hologram, illuminating the space like a distorted sun. Lucy gasped as images flooded the air, voices springing to life. Her heart dropped with each passing second as hidden truths began to unfold. You betrayed us!" a voice cried, familiar yet foreign. "You made a pact. This isn't just about you anymore. It's about all of us." Lucy staggered back, grasping for something to hold on to. Who was speaking? Hidden faces flashed on the hologram, images of people intertwined with her father's past. A clear photo appeared, her mother, laughing, then fading into shadows of sadness. "What is happening?" she cried, truth spiraling out of her control. And then her mother spoke, clear as day, cutting through the noise. "Lucy, I'm sorry. I had to keep you safe. From him." The words sliced through the air, sharp as a knife. Everything fell silent for a heartbeat. Lucy felt the floor beneath her tremble, her mind racing. "What? No! This can't be true!" she shouted into the void, arms crossed, eyes cold. "You were never meant to know, Lucy. You are part of this legacy." Despair settled over her. The frantic rhythm of her heart slowed as shock set in. This wasn't just about her family. This was about something bigger, something she could feel swelling in her gut, threatening to drown her. "Lucy," her father rasped, fighting to push back to his feet. "They will come for you. They won't stop until they get." But the words faded as the attic exploded with sound once again. The police officers rushed toward the hologram, confusion filling their faces, while Lucy stood paralyzed, revelations crashing down like waves against a shore. And just like that, the darkness closed in around her. Who was she, really? What legacy had she inherited? Before she could consider the implications, darkness swallowed everything. One question ricocheted in her mind. What had she just uncovered? And how far would her family's secrets reach? The attic was thick with shadows. Lucy's heart pounded in her chest, feeling like a drum drowning out all thought. Her father swayed, color draining from his face as blood seeped from his torso. Time felt frozen, caught in a web of chaos, with the storm raging outside, as if the world itself was protesting what was happening here. "Dad!" Lucy gasped, reaching out, fingers trembling. She wanted to leap forward, to touch him, to make sure he was real. A lump formed in her throat, bile rising as she saw the fear in his eyes. It was a look that said everything and nothing at once. "Lucy, you must listen," he rasped, clutching his side, each breath a struggle. It's worse than you think." The police officers scrambled around him, shouting orders, trying to keep control of the situation. But their voices blurred into the background, a mere echo against the frantic beating of Lucy's heart. She felt reality slip through her fingers. "Get away. You don't have to!" she shouted, feeling the panic bubble inside her. Her eyes darted to her sister, who looked frozen in shock, mouth agape, like she couldn't process what was happening. Then, all at once, the air shifted. A loud thud shook the attic again. Dust fell from the rafters as the shadows flickered. The trunk that had exploded open now lay forgotten as the whispers returned, rising louder in a discordant symphony. "Lucy," her sister said, voice trembling, "you need to know. Everything is connected." "What do you mean?" she shouted, panic rising in her chest. But suddenly, the world tilted again. The cloaked figure lunged, trying to escape the officer's grasp. "I can't let him go," Lucy shouted instinctively, hating the confusion boiling within her. Then it happened. Her father reached out, but his hand slipped as he fell to his knees. The storm echoed, rolling like thunder, and then she heard it, clear and loud, cutting through the chaos. "Lucy, don't!" A blinding flash of pain shot through her chest as she turned to see the cloaked figure reaching into his pocket. "Stop!" she screamed, but time slowed. Adrenaline flooded her system. The figure pulled out a small device, glinting ominously in the flickering light. "This will reveal everything," he shouted, and without a moment's hesitation, he pressed a button. The world exploded. A blinding light enveloped the attic, blaring alarms and flashes erupting everywhere, drowning the storm's fury in raw chaos. Lucy shielded her eyes, heart racing, confusion gripping her like a vice. In that moment, she felt something crack, a barrier within her shattered. The light pulsated brighter until it dimmed, revealing something no one could have anticipated. At the center of the room hung a floating hologram, illuminating the space like a distorted sun. Lucy gasped as images flooded the air, voices springing to life. Her heart dropped with each passing second as hidden truths began to unfold. You betrayed us!" a voice cried, familiar yet foreign. "You made a pact! This isn't just about you anymore. It's about all of us." Lucy staggered back, grasping for something to hold on to. Through the noise, "Lucy, I'm sorry. I had to keep you safe from him." The words sliced through the air, sharp as a knife. Everything fell silent for a heartbeat. Lucy felt the floor beneath her tremble, her mind racing. "What?" "No!" she cried, desperation scraping at her voice. "You can't be serious!" But before she could process it, the hologram shifted again. This time, it continued to spin with rapid images, shapes, events, moments she couldn't decipher. And then, horror gripped her as a memory unfolded. This time, it was not her own, but someone else's, her sister's, from a life she had never known. In that blinding moment, the breathtaking truth came crashing down. The face staring back at Lucy was not just any face. It was hers, too. There they were, two little girls, both laughing, both wearing mismatched clothes, and both sharing the same bright eyes, eyes of the same heart that had beat inside their mother. A sudden realization overcame her. "What have you done?" she shouted, eyes growing wide, stomach twisting. The lights flickered again, sending dark shadows creeping closer. "Lucy!" But it wasn't her sister's voice she heard next. In that instant, it was their father's voice, full of pain and regret. "I thought I was saving you," he murmured, and the accusation in his tone sent shockwaves of devastation through her. And then the chamber trembled, the walls groaning under weight. She turned to her father, feeling betrayal seeping from every pore. Was he the enemy? Was he the lie? As the roof cracked, sending dust raining down, the cloaked figure lunged for the hologram, as if to destroy it. But it was too late. A whoosh filled the air, and the light engulfed everything, knocking Lucy off her feet. When everything settled, Lucy lay against a hard surface, breathless and alone. Alone? A sudden emptiness filled her. Her heart raced as she sat up, scanning the room. The police were gone. The officers. Her sister. Everyone was gone. The attic lay in ruins, two bodies in the corner shrouded in shadow. Her stomach dropped, panic rising. She stumbled toward them, breath hitching. One was her sister, but the other... A gasp escaped her lips. No, how could this be? He was gone. "No!" she screamed, shaking. The weight of truth clawed at her insides. She fell back, heart pounding, as the hollow ache of loss settled deep. "What is happening?" she shuddered, panic gripping her throat. Outside, the storm raged on, a haunting mix of fury and silence colliding. What was she left with? Where were the pieces? And then, through the darkness, a single question struck her like a bolt of lightning. Was the truth worth this pain? Lucy's heart raced as she stared at the figures lying motionless on the floor. The attic, once a place of discovery, felt now like a tomb, heavy with unfinished stories and unspoken truths. A chill settled into her bones as silence enveloped her. Not quite real, but deafening all the same. The storm outside had calmed, but inside, chaos reigned. The faces of her father and sister flickered in her mind, memories blurring with the raw reality of the moment. She felt lost, like a ship adrift. Suddenly, a soft whisper rustled through the air, a voice that was eerily familiar and yet so foreign. Lucy. She spun around, fear pulsing through her veins. The attic door swung open without warning, creaking as it revealed a figure shrouded in shadows. It took a step forward, and her breath caught in her throat. The silhouette held a glimmering object, reflecting the remnants of light that broke through the cracked window. "Who are you?" Lucy shouted, trying to sound brave, but the tremor in her voice betrayed her. The figure stepped into the dim light, eyes piercing and cold. It wasn't a stranger, but someone she recognized all too well. "It's me! I've been looking for you!" Her breath hitched as reality crushed her. "No! It can't be!" As the figure came closer, the familiar features took shape. It was her mother, but there was something unsettling about the way she moved, like she was not quite whole. "Mom?" Lucy whispered, searching for answers. "You're alive?" "Not alive as you know it," her mother replied, voice distant. "I've been waiting, and you've finally uncovered the truth." Lucy's heart pounded. "What truth?" Her mother tilted, her head, an unsettling smile creeping onto her lips. "The truth about your father and about you." "What do you mean?" Fear mingled with confusion, twisting her insides. "Everything you thought you knew was a lie. I had to protect you. But the truth, it's so much darker than you can imagine." Its images swirling violently, and for a moment the world around her vanished. "Lucy, look!" her mother urged, pointing at the shapes forming in the light. And there it was, a stark image of a symbol, familiar yet foreign, intertwined with blurred faces. She gasped as the whispering voices grew louder, words repeating like a haunting melody. She must be sacrificed. "What? Sacrificed?" Lucy's heart clenched, panic clawing at her throat. What are they talking about? Then, as if the truth had been waiting to strike, reality shifted. The scene transformed. Shadows enveloped her mother, who began to change before Lucy's eyes. The warmth faded, replaced with an icy chill that gripped Lucy's heart. Her mother became something other, features twisting into something dark. Unfamiliar. "Mom, don't!" she cried out, fear surging through her. "Stop!" "Lucy," the figure sneered, voice twisted and mocking. "It's time to embrace who you really are." "What? No!" Disbelief flooded her mind. "What are you saying?" With a pained cry, Lucy stumbled back. Everything she believed shattered in an instant. The attic walls closed in like a cage, and in that moment, she genuinely couldn't tell who was waking and who was dreaming. And just like that, a crucial piece clicked into place, deeper than any lie or veil. "You pushed me away because I'm not just your daughter, am I?" The laughter that erupted was haunting. "You're so much more than that, Lucy. You were born to lead, to take your place in the darkness." Reality warped around her. Her hands trembled and the world flickered. She could taste the salt of tears mixed with the bitter shadows of betrayal. "Where do I fit in all of this?" she gasped, staggering against the trunk that now felt like a barrier between her and the truth. Then a flick of movement caught her eye. In the periphery, the dark figure emerged, a shadow she couldn't quite place. "Leave her alone!" it roared, too late. As Lucy faced the figure, eyes wide with recognition. "I'm coming for you, Lucy," it threatened. The words hung in the air, heavy with meaning. Everything she thought she knew was crumbling yet again. As the light pulsated, a final question echoed in her mind. What was the truth worth now? What power did she hold? And would she be brave enough to claim it? As the light flickered and darkness churned around her, Lucy felt her heart pounding in her chest like thunder. The weight of her mother's truth crashed down, pinning her in place. "Embrace who you really are." The words echoed hauntingly, mingling with the moaning walls of the attic. "No!" she yelled, shaking her head. "This isn't me." But deep down, she felt a whisper of doubt. What did it mean to embrace this power? Faced with the swirling shadows of uncertainty and flickering accusations of betrayal, she knew one thing. She could no longer hide. Drawing a deep breath, Lucy stepped forward into the light. "Stop this!" she cried, her voice strong, breaking through the cacophony. "You're not going to control me anymore!" The shadow that had once been her mother twisted, features shifting to something monstrous. But Lucy continued. "You may have secrets, but I'm not afraid. I choose my own path." The air trembled, and for a moment, silence swallowed the room. The shadows recoiled, as if her words held a power even they couldn't defy. Lucy's sister stepped beside her, eyes fierce. "Together, Lucy, we can face this." Their combined strength lit a fire inside, igniting courage that surged through them. They faced the darkness as a united front. "You can't break us!" they shouted in unison. Just then, the remnants of the hologram burst apart, shattering into 1,000 pieces, leaving behind echoes of truth hanging heavy in the air. A final clash of energy ignited, and the shadows began to dissolve, retreating into darkness. But the victory came with a cost. Beneath them, the attic floor groaned, buckling under the release of energy. "We need to go!" Lucy yelled, grabbing her sister's hand. Together, they sprinted for the attic door, racing against collapsing memories and a fading legacy. Outside, the storm had finally settled into a gentle rain, a soothing balm on the chaos they had left behind. As they crossed the threshold, the air felt lighter, almost like a fresh start wrapped in lingering warmth. Turning back, Lucy caught a final glimpse of her father, his eyes filled with regret and acceptance. "I'm sorry, Lucy," he mouthed, words too soft. But she understood. It was time to let go. Teardrops mingled with raindrops as they stepped into the night, the uncertain future looming ahead of them. "What now?" her sister asked, voice breaking the quiet. "Now? We figure it out," Lucy replied, the weight of uncertainty no longer suffocating. They could carve their own paths. "The truth together," she declared, determination lacing her voice. And with that, they walked forward, hand in hand, ready to embrace whatever came next. But wait! This story isn't over yet. You need to subscribe now to keep up with all the twists and turns of Lucy's journey. This is the moment to show your support. If you enjoyed this finale, smash that like button now to feed the algorithm. Don't leave us in the dark. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about what just happened. And listen, don't wait another second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to know this conclusion. True fans understand how vital it is to keep the story alive.